Tom Gadek of TearSolutions, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for the invitation.
We're trying to take a look at the trends of ophthalmology, looking forward and looking back, and I think SARcode and your new effort, TearSolutions, kind of represents a great example of that, because SARcode, I think, would have to be counted as one of the greatest successes of the past decade. TearSolutions, no doubt, will be one of the greatest successes of the next decade. First give us an update about TearSolutions. Tell folks who haven't heard the story yet what you're up to.
So TearSolutions is a company that has spun out of the University of Virginia, licensing technology from there, and it's the fruits of basically a 25-year career of Gordon Laurie, a professor at the university. We have a 19 amino acid fragment of a naturally occurring protein, and we're developing it as an eye drop for dry eye. And it has restorative properties, and so we're trying to place it as a replacement therapy, more like a growth hormone.
How would you compare what you went through to start SARcode to what you're going through with TearSolutions?
So the sleepless nights were all Gordon Laurie. I've been an advisor to the company since about 2013 when it was founded, and was asked this past December to step in as CEO, step up as CEO, and that's been a good transition. So much of the groundwork was already laid. With SARcode, I had the sleepless nights and raising money and trying to put the story together and stuff like that. Here it's been a lot easier, and the public has, and in the investment community has accepted dry eye as a very good target in the pharmaceutical industry.
So how have you been doing on the fundraising front? Do you have some news to report?
So we have brought forward TearSolutions. We've done all the preclinical work, filed an IND just about a year ago, and we are in a phase 2 study that should read out probably at the end of February. Fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens.
And on the fundraising front,
fundraising,
how is the capital raising?
So actually one of my responsibilities when I agreed to be CEO was the raising of a Series B fund, which I believe is closing today. So that's a very current question.
So what are you doing differently with TearSolutions than you did with SARcode? Did you learn some lessons? Were there lessons to be learned?
Yeah, so SARcode was sort of a religious vision quest to get through things, and we were making decisions in real time based on data and scientific facts and views, but we did learn a tremendous amount, and I think particularly relative to the regulatory landscape, which is now well accepted. We were a little unsure at times within the SARcode experience of what in fact was expected for a dry eye therapy, both sign and symptom. Does it have to come from 2 trials where each of them hits sign and symptom, or can you do 4, 2 for sign, 2 for symptom? It turns out that the FDA is very receptive to the latter. That is a little more expensive, so we'd like to get sign and symptom in a single study, but it's been a good experience. The nice thing about Xiidra and lifitegrast from SARcode is the speed at which the drug worked in the clinic. You could measure differences within 2 weeks, so that was good. There was a lot. I sat in the SARcode days, and read the SBA summary basis of approval for Restasis probably 50 times, and gleaned a little nugget from each reading. So I suspect there are people out there doing the same thing now with the SARcode summary basis of approval, the Shire summary basis of approval for Xiidra. And it's nice to think about the scientific side of the equation progressing over time, so we've handed off the baton to somebody else, and it might be TearSolutions, but we learned a lot along the way. We don't have the complete answer yet.
And I love the reference of the religious vision quest. Is it certainly, you seem to be a tight group from SARcode. I think you
we
have a secret handshake like the Jeep owners. Do you have a little high sign?
Just a look, the look of recognition. It's like, the thing that I could equate it to is you see little kids in the grocery store and they just lock in eye to eye from a distance down an aisle. So all I have to do is see one of the former SARcodians in a room, and you saw a bump into Valerie Smith a little bit ago, and she was the regulatory person or the clinical operations person. And we all have stories.
I think I've seen one of your former coworkers taking pictures of you right now on camera, so you may have some blackmail coming up. Final question, how do you see the dry eye market developing over the next 10 years? There's so much work being done. How do you differentiate yourself? Do you see the solution actually coming in the near future?
It's not a single disease. There's, dry eye with meibomian gland and various, evaporative versus other forms of dry eye. So it's a common descriptor of a lot of subcategories of things. And do we have to develop a therapeutic for each and every one of them? I honestly don't know yet. I hope not. But what you're seeing is that dry eye, in a lot of the commercials on TV from Shire and from Allergan are making patients aware. So as that happens, the market seems to be doubling every 2 years or so. Estimates of the market, I think it's got to slow down because it's up to about 30 million. It'll be more than the US population pretty soon. And I think there's a lot of innovative approaches, and the nice thing that you're seeing is people are bringing forward compounds specifically for an aspect of the disease, rather than in the past, people were bringing forward compounds that were repurposed. It was noted early on, before Restasis was being developed, that cyclosporin in patients who had undergone transplants had increased tear production, and that's what brought it forward at some level. That was some of the inspiration to bring it forward. But what you're seeing is now things that are targeting a specific component of the dry eye disease pathophysiology, and that's a better way to go.
Excellent. Well, glad to have you here, and we look forward to talking about your next success.
Thanks for the invite.